So this is the part where I vamp while people are coming in. So if you're joining us today, thank you for being here. Go ahead and take 30 seconds to grab a drink of water, a notebook. The session is being recorded, so don't worry about rapidly taking notes, but definitely we encourage audience participation, make use of the Q&A. You're here to learn, so please be participatory. All right. Well, I know we have a lot to get to today, so we're going to hear from our speakers, and then in the last 15 minutes, we will do a bit of a tip of the iceberg live demonstration of the product. So without further ado, hello. If you've been here before at any of our webinars, my name's Casey Thomas. I am the Content and Public Relations Specialist at AudienceView, and I'm joined today by 4 representatives of our dinner theater clients. We have Kurt and Charity from Suncoast Broadway in Florida, and Joel and Peggy from Chanhassen Dinner Theatres in Minnesota. And rather than me rambling on about their credentials and why we've chosen to have them speak today, I'll go around like this. So I'll say, Joel, can I tag you first to introduce yourself and talk about your role and your experience?
Sure. Welcome, everyone. It's so great to be here. As kind of a brief history of myself, I have a long relationship with AudienceView, much like Chanhassen Dinner Theaters does actually. We started my marketing career at Ordway Center for the Performing Arts in St. Paul, when we were still on a DOS-based ticketing platform and looking for a new ticketing partner, and we knew that Chanhassen Dinner Theaters at the time had AudienceView, as well as other locations in the market, and so that was part of the reason. Actually, was being able to know that there were others within the market that had AudienceView, that Ordway got AudienceView. And then one of the reasons I actually came to Chanhassen Dinner Theaters was the then marketing director was interested in looking at ways to harness the power of the database to further provide business intelligence to sell tickets and build relationships with the customers. And so came over to help integrate more of the marketing into AudienceView. So I actually kind of, just a disclaimer, I owe a lot of my career to AudienceView. Actually, so I have a long relationship with it. We'll probably talk further about some of the pain points or constraints that exist within all platforms, but just to kind of put that out there. But I run our sales and marketing efforts here at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters, and excited to be on the call today.
Thank you for being here. So I'll pass it over to Peggy now, so we'll stay within the org.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peggy Lushine. I've been with Chanhassen Dinner Theaters and using AudienceView since 2007. I started in our box office, and I have every role within our sales team. I have been a part of that role and know it very well. And I now lead both our individual and group sales teams, and am the person who builds events in AudienceView. So I went from just selling tickets all the way through that process of managing price charts and building events. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Peggy. All right, over to you, Charity.
Awesome. Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Charity Terrio. So we actually started out with Audience a few years ago at Midtown Arts Center when we used to own that theater in Colorado. I believe we were on 0.6.
6.8, baby.
6.8 at the time. So I have an interesting journey where I started with AudienceView, and then when we purchased another theater, Suncoast Broadway, in Florida, we were actually on Bendini at the time. We transitioned that theater over to what was at the time Ovation Tix, and then which became AudienceView Professional. And that was an interesting process, learning how to break the system every way that I could to make it more like AudienceView Unlimited. So I have a lot of experience with the two platforms going back and forth, because then we transitioned back to AudienceView Unlimited in 2023. Yeah, just this last year, about a year and a half ago. We started that process in late 2022. It took a while to get fully back over. But yes, I have a very similar job to Peggy in the sense that I manage our box office, I manage our group sales teams, I manage all of our promotional and marketing material that comes out. We deal heavily with promotions and figuring out how to build those types of things through the system, down to I build all of the events and anything else that we sell through the platform. And that's a bit about me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kurt Terrio, and I'm the other owner of Suncoast Broadway. So we did pick up AudienceView back in 2013 at Midtown Arts Center. We were actually one of the first clients that it was, as our salesperson, the incredible Maureen Anderson, said, before us, you used to be able to just buy the car, and what you had, what was installed on your system, that was it. And then and we were actually one of the first clients to do what is now standard these days, where you lease the car to where everything is stored on the server, to where we have access to all the updates. We started, like I said, at 6.8. So we were one of the first monthly subscription customers. And then again, like Charity said, with our journey, going a little bit backwards to Vendini and AudienceView Pro or Ovation Tix, we found that it was very, very, very useful for us. I'm a little bit more on the creative side. I do the marketing strategy and oversee content creation for the website. One of the biggest selling points for us to move back to AudienceView Unlimited was when we had 6.8 in 2013, we weren't quite ready to integrate the storefront website. And we do take advantage of that. Some organizations don't, some do, but we are 100%, all of our content is driven through the AudienceView site and built out by articles, which has been amazing for us as far as being able to keep up a better website, learning how to do it clean. It is not just drag and drop. It does take a little training, but and if you work with a good content creator to push the limits as far as possible, you can actually come up with a website that doesn't even look like a traditional AudienceView storefront. There's some great examples that we have kind of stolen from, but at the end of the day, it's all code. So we're very, very happy with that product, and there's been some new releases coming out, which is going to make us even better. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. I'm already writing down questions that I want to get to, but let's start off sort of in the broader sense. A couple of you sort of already touched on this since you've been with AudienceView Unlimited, but how does this platform, I know the needs of a dinner theater are so much more complex than, say, your average 300-seat box performing arts center. So how do you go about sort of keeping all of those operational pieces in one place?
Peggy, you want to start?
Well, that's a great question. We have at CDT, we have 3 theaters. So we're always kind of trying to pay attention to the programming across the board, and thinking about all the different aspects. With dinner theater, you're not just thinking about what time do the doors open, do people come in the doors? You're thinking about what time does dinner need to be served? How much time are we allowing for that before the show starts, so that we have that kind of buffer zone between people arriving, they're eating, and then going into the show. So I think that's one of our biggest unique challenges as dinner theaters, is thinking about how that all works and making sure that it has the best guest experience, but that we also have a good experience for all of our employees and team members, because we can cause some great frustration in that programming if we're not paying attention to their needs as well.
Sure.
I think one of the things that's key to audience view that we like about it, but also is a little bit of a cautionary tale, is most ticketing platforms are not set up for dinner theater. And so it's rethinking, you know, in a standard theater, it's usually coded out by section, row, seat. Well, for us, sections become rows become tables, and seat become table position. And it's just understanding and learning that. This is going a little deep, but one of the neat things about Audience View is the registry editor allows for a lot of customization, where you can change headings and change titles that make more sense to our customers. Something we learned when we first started doing tickets, being able to design your own tickets, the defaults go in. And so showtime at 7:30, and you know, and so we just let that go, and we put in our liner notes, you know, dinner at 6, and we had a lot of newer customers and even some existing customers that were showing up 15 minutes before 7:30. The buffet was closed, and so we had to really think about how to frame the experience to our customers and kind of change everything up and redesign our tickets, so that the event starts at 6, and whatever that is in the registry editor, for us, I think it was like doors open, but we ended up having to highlight that and do the opposite and put in our liner notes on the ticketing, like, you know, show actually starts at 7:30. The cool thing about Audience View, though, is that it allows us complete integration to send out, you know, day before, day of, thanks for coming emails. All of that can be done through the platform. We don't use the platform for marketing emails. We actually export lists to Constant Contact or MailChimp, but we are about to do a new venture that I know a couple of our fellow dinner theaters are doing, with Activity Stream, that's going to make that part seamless. But that, I guess, is one of the main things, is Audience View gives us the ability to customize, but you have to think out of the box and you have to ask the questions. If you don't ask the questions, they don't know how to help you. You know what I mean? So
can you make it auto-populate this thing instead of this thing? And those are the baby questions that he's talking about, because like he was saying, we have to choose which things we want to auto-populate into our upcoming show emails, post-show emails, things like that. And that's really important, because if you're doing a New Year's Eve show, I'm certain that that timing is not the same as any other evening show, or you know, a brunch show versus a matinee. And so when Peggy and I are building those in the system, we're trusting that this is going to populate into the templates correctly, that they know what time their doors are that day.
And it's especially important if you are using your storefront as your website as well. That's where you really need to dig in and look at some, because it is just they all are just templates. And so it's important to work with customer service or your project manager and ask specifically, can I change that title? Can I change that title? Can I change tickets and info to say dinner start, or you know what I mean, about your experience? And being able to ask that, most of the time the answer is yes. Sometimes it's no, and we work around that, but and that's just something different that you're going to get moving up from Ovation Ticks and some of the other ones.
Yeah, and I think that we definitely have similar situations with making sure that our ticketing information pulls the data from the event level and the order level so that it's correct for each person. And we also, the comments on that pull onto receipts and invoices, we're able to put additional information there, because we say seating for dinner starts at this time, but we want you to arrive by this time. So we have that additional spot where we can put information and give people another place to look, because they might not be opening that PDF attachment or their tickets in a different format. They might just look at the receipt initially. So having that information right there where it's easy, again, makes that guest experience so much more smooth. And you don't have people showing up 10 minutes before the show starts and the kitchen's closed.
Mm. In the nicest way possible, I'm going to touch on the fact that perhaps some of the clientele that frequent dinner theaters are maybe not the most tech savvy. So when you have so many details to communicate, what are some of the pitfalls, and then also some of the ways that you've been able to ensure that people, for instance, know not to show up 10 minutes before the show where the kitchen's closed? How do you make sure that everybody is not only able to receive that information, but they're taking in that information?
Well, I think one of the interesting things that we've seen or kind of thought that maybe some of our customers wouldn't be as tech savvy or as willing to adapt to new technology. We've actually seen that we are kind of behind on that process. We have a lot of our guests that are asking, like, why do I have to have a physical ticket? Why can't you scan my phone? Or why can't I have mobile ticketing? So with that, we were adapting and saying, okay, let's look at integrating into getting the app, which we started. I know that switched from doing a native app to doing a web app, and so we're part of that process. We've started to scan mostly for our internal purposes. We have to kind of roll out slowly for training purposes, but we have a scanner. We started scanning in our smallest venue, which is our comedy club, to kind of see, what are we learning from that process. We've learned a lot in terms of what our internal process is, and are ready to roll it out to our next venue, which is our concert venue, and then hopefully to our main dinner theater, in our hopes to become fully digital at some point in the near future, because our guests are demanding that. I think not only for ecological reasons, but also just not having to carry around pieces of paper. And then I think what's exciting is to look at our groups and see, like, how can people distribute tickets to their friends or family more easily if they're not all coming together, and do that digitally. So I think there's a number of reasons and ways that we're doing that. And then it's just making sure that we communicate with our customers what we're doing and why, and trying to do that through direct email communication, through information on our website, and through our email newsletters. I don't know if, Peggy, you have things to add to that, but
I would just add that the correspondence tool and pre-show reminders, making sure that the data that's being pulled into those templates is what needs to be communicated, is really important, and that we have the flexibility to adjust those when we need to. For instance, we have a big switch that's coming in October. We transitioned this summer to doing earlier performances on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, but we did not transfer over to that earlier time for Friday and Saturday nights. But we're going to be doing that come October, and we're going to do that for our concert series as well. So making sure that people who purchase their tickets much earlier know what time the show is, because it's 30 minutes earlier. You don't want to show up for an 8 o'clock show when it started at 7:30. So we're definitely going to be leveraging that tool of correspondence to make sure that that accurate data gets to people. And we do find that most people are reading those.
I'm curious what inspired you to make that change?
Our guests. They were asking for an earlier showtime, and they have overwhelmingly been excited about the change. Minnesota gets kind of dark in November. By 5 o'clock, it's really dark here. So they just want to be home a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
And by making that 30-minute shift, yes, it shifted all of our other processes within the company. But we found that it worked. And so it's really nice to be able to listen to the feedback of our guests and deliver on something like that, that increases and enhances their guest experience.
Definitely. You know, you bring up a point that I was thinking about, was that, you know, we have such a difference geographically in clientele here. Minnesota, Charity and Kurt, you have experience in Colorado and now in Florida, and I'm curious, given the fact that you know each other from this business, like, have you run into, when you're talking about how things work, is there something notably different between how people purchase and behave in the Florida market versus the Colorado market versus Minnesota?
Well, when we took over our Florida theater, we were told all the reasons why things were not going to work. We were told our clientele was dying off. We were told that, you know, I guess, yeah, the boomers are not replacing anybody. We were told they were dying off. We were told none of them have computers, none of them have phones. And at first we were like, oh my goodness, I want to encourage all of our, you know, attendees. It's not true. My parents are 75. They have iPhones. Do they use them the way I always want them to use them? No, but they will use them. And we really tried to model other theaters because we're subscribers at the Denver Center, which is our big national tour house. And it's the same people. Elderly people like to see theater. And they do have to have a ticket in hand to go to the Denver Center. And they do have the ability. One of the things we did, and we actually took this from Denver Center, we made our print at home PDF the size of a mobile phone screen. So that way, when they pull it up, it's right there and ready to go. And it looks like a mobile ticket. It's technically not. It's a PDF, but
Scannable.
it's scannable, and it looks, we even actually put a graphic behind it that looked like a cutout like ticket with the little like rip, you know, the perforations, so that they knew it looked like a ticket. And we still have people that print out the tickets, so you have this superimposed ticket on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But we decided, you know, our biggest clientele are season ticket holders and our bus tours. If the bus tours just don't go to dinner theater, they go to the Tampa Bay Bucks, they go to the Tampa Bay Rays, they go to the Stratus Center, which is Tampa's tour house, and they have to have a ticket in hand there. They're not just Mabel's not coming in and giving a, you know, handwritten list of 30 people and expecting to be, you know, ushered into section 101 of the Bucks game. It doesn't work. And so if they can handle that there, they can handle it for us. And what it helped us do was separate if you have everyone on that system where you're trying to deal with their problem at the door, you're having to spend more money on higher skilled people and taking away from possible sales to dig in and do the research for the 1 out of 20 customers where they just have the wrong, you know, by us, we have now less skilled people. We have bussers. We have what we are called ambassadors. And again, we took that from the Denver Center, where these people scanning us in at the Denver Center are like very elderly and, you know, green, red. And if it's red, they're ushers.
Call them ambassadors.
And so being able to have an usher scan green or red and then send them to a well-staffed will call where our experts are, we're able to actually fix the problem quicker, not have, you know, Joe and Mabel feel embarrassed that they're holding up the line of people behind them. And it's worked out good. So I would say we leaned into technology. We pushed technology further and used AudienceView to help leverage, like what Peggy said, to force them to use technology. But because we had the flexibility, we could do it on terms that were comfortable for them. So we flipped it up. I mean, no ticket, no taco. You can't come into our theater without a ticket in hand. So, and it's been great.
I will say we used two, well, one tool that we used to make sure that that happens seamlessly as people are showing up to the theater is just signage. Letting people know we have, you know, our signs posted, tickets in hand, and it shows a mobile phone with the ticket, or it shows the tickets and it says need printable tickets, head to will call, you know, so they know where to go. We have ambassadors helping that process. But probably the most interesting thing I have learned from our business this entire year so far. We work with a social media company that helps populate everything that we do with Meta. And they are able to show us how people are booking tickets, like what type of device and the age bracket. And was it 70 plus?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just particularly the age bracket of 70 plus, and I don't think it has an ending age, all mobile, and not all, but it was 90 plus
It was
percent
90% mobile.
that they're purchasing the tickets on their device, rather than using a laptop or an iPad. So we thought that was insanely interesting to know, and not just clicking the phone number, but actually purchasing the tickets from their phone. So that's made us change a lot of how we do things. We've started editing our emails only in mobile view and then quality checking it in desktop, whereas
It was opposite
that's
20 years. So.
always been the opposite. So I think that they're embracing it a lot more than we give them credit for, and it's been working out for us. So,
and if it's not clunky, they'll continue to do it. So I think that's the most important thing is, and it has been clunky, I think, because we as both sides, we as creatives and we as ticketing, we sit against our laptops and our big double screens, and you know, it turned it on my head. I would design these beautiful email templates to realize that 1 out of 10 were even seeing it on an iPad, let alone a desktop. So making sure that we're quality controlling that, that's been huge. But we're excited about some of what AudienceView is doing with the web-based app is huge, because I agree. If you have our people download an app, they're not going to want to do it. So the web-based app is awesome. If you want to speak more about that, because yeah.
I'll let John speak on that in a few minutes. But Charity, you touched on an important part that I wanted to get to, which was, it sounds like for that particular information, that was through a different marketing company. But in terms of reporting capability on the platform and whatever is your like go-to reports that you look at the most frequently, what's been the most useful?
oh, that is a loaded question. So many. Gosh, we look at so many. I'm gonna toss that question back to you though, because you like the reports even more than I do.
I think the year over year is the most important for me. You know, we try to dig into our season tickets a lot. It's a huge part of our business. And so we kind of filter data pretty heavily of when did they buy last year? Did they buy last year? Have they renewed? And we pull those so that we can actively sell to them. I think the other thing that we would do is when we are looking for season tickets, we will do, we use it for how we have a saying at our theater that if a season ticket pays for itself in less than 3 visits. So we very hard go after the people that are coming 2 or 3 times and try to hit them at the show, but also, you know, with targeted emails being like, you already paid for a season ticket. Thank you. You know, enjoy some free shows if you actually become a member. So
to toggle off of that, I think that it's a type of experience, like Kurt's saying as well. Like, we know that all of our country fans have come to these particular shows, so we're going to target them for these other things. So just kind of categorizing our customers in that way has been extremely helpful for us. The biggest spenders, because we're a for-profit theater, so we still like to reward our customers for being so loyal to us and everything that they do with us. So we're constantly running stuff like that and knowing where they are and who they are and where they're sitting. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we've run it all. Customer-based reporting.
Mhm. I would
Joel?
say
Oh.
the BIs though is probably the hardest thing to
Learn.
and to generate your own. Most of the reports that are in there we are already built for you. It is that might be a time to either pay a consultant or buy a block of support time to help you customize those BIs. I want to say, and I hope this doesn't turn people off, if you're going to invest in AudienceView, understand, I think it's not going to do it. You have to make the further investment to use it all the way. Like, you don't want to put, if you're going to buy $100,000 sports car, you don't want to put the $100 tires from Walmart on it. You know, you don't want to put the bad gas in it. There are other ways, whether it's consultants, support packs, secondary party program companies like Activity Stream. If you're going to use AudienceView, budget 75% of that and spend the other 25%, and you will get it back.
Nice.
I was going to say, I know Peggy did some advanced, I think, reporting at gathered some information on that at the AV Connect, but one of the things that we just kind of started realizing we had available to us and using that was the custom dashboards. So we've been creating, which is really nice both to use internally and to share with other senior leaders in the organization, so they can have it at a glance. Like, we have White Christmas coming up, so we have each of our upcoming shows, and a current show has a drop-down dashboard, so you can look at a glance and say, okay, where are we at percent to capacity, total revenue so far, what are our top performing shows, least performing shows, and price types. It's really, that's actually kind of, I mean, as simple as it is, it's kind of become a quick game changer. We get emailed reports to us daily, but to be able to just log in, click on it, and see, okay, where are we at this exact moment, is helpful both visually and with the numbers. So that's something I would say is utilizing those, however they're helpful to you, is really helpful. We have last week's sales, so there's a bunch of different ones you can use. And again, getting that support from AudienceView when you need it. If you have a question that you can't solve yourself, you invest either asking or investing in the little bit of hours it might take to get help in getting a custom report is really worthwhile.
Yeah, we have a really fantastic success story regarding new business intelligence and really leaning on AudienceView's expertise to help us create something. So we have a daily report that we now have automated, but it used to be a sheet of paper. When I started, it was a sheet of paper where we literally wrote everything down in pencil and made sure that all our columns math was correct. Then someone upgraded it to an Excel spreadsheet, so it did the math for us. And now we have an automated report that goes out to all of the people within the company that know, so they know for the next 3 days, these are how many people are coming. This is how many people are having dinner. This is how many people are not having dinner or just coming to the show, because we do have both. And this is our grand total. So they're not preparing more food than we actually need. And the thing that we really love about it being automated is that everybody gets it every day. It's not a matter of it getting lost in someone's mailbox. Once in a while it gets lost in an inbox, but that's a whole nother story. But we know that it's 100% accurate in that moment. And that everyone is getting the same information. There's no human error possibility. So we've taken that out of it completely. And It's been a really fun report to then take and manipulate. I think it's really cool to look at new BIs and BIs and say, okay, if this is my starting point, can I make this do this? By changing my criteria, by changing my filters, what else can I make this basic report do to help us get the information that we need and that we need to get to other departments within our company? I think that working in BIs is kind of fun. And I always feel like a little bit of a superhero when I figure out, yes, that worked and it did exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, what's your most recent, like, I messed around with it and now it can do this?
I messed around with it. We had a multi-step process for complimentary tickets and
Mhm.
making sure that the correct departments that they lined up at the end of the week. And instead of printing multiple sheets and having to do some handwriting on them, now it's one sheet of paper that goes to our accounting department. And they said, this is beautiful. This is exactly what I need. And it's on one sheet of paper instead of 9. So that was my most recent superhero success. I loved it. So, and it was all based on a report that was created using AV to help us create a different report and then going, how can I manipulate this to get what I'm looking for?
I'm just going to plug for all of our participants. We can happy to take questions in the Q&A. I mean, I would love to believe I'm doing a great job of asking questions, so please remember everyone's allowed to do that. You touched on this a little bit in terms of timing of purchases. One thing that we've been tracking just over the years, and we spoke about this at AV Connect, was that people are buying tickets later and later, closer to the performance date. When you have so many moving parts, a la how much food do we need to prepare for dinner? How has that impacted how you're running things?
I think for us, that's where we use a lot of the historical data, that we've really looked into, that people are creatures of habit, numbers don't lie. So if we're a little low, we can expect when it comes in. So we usually have a 10% buffer week of shows. So on Monday, we know that anything in the upcoming 5 days to our weekend, because we only run at our theater Thursday through Sunday, we expect about a 10% growth if we have the seats available, unless we're doing like a dumb promo where we're just letting everybody come for $20, but we don't do that anymore. But yeah, it is good to get the reports. We wish our people, we need to do what Peggy's doing and make sure it gets in their inbox every day, because
we do them twice a week. So we do them at the beginning of the week and right at the start of our weekend on Thursday. And they check in with the box office constantly just to follow those numbers, because they can pull the report at any time. Yes. But yeah, so they have an idea of what it is. And every time they're delivered the report, it's that week and the upcoming week, so that they know kind of how to do that. Our house managers know how to schedule their servers accordingly and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not seeing as much where we're at. A lot of the last minute, we are still, I think that happens. I think that's the best news for a theater. If you're having a lot of last minute purchases, you're having a lot of new business. And so great news. We're hoping for that, but we are definitely seeing, we started a country series where we're doing not tributes, but the actual 90s Nashville artists. And those have all jumped at the last minute. I don't know if it's because of bands in town or they heard it on the radio, but like our Broadway shows with our subscribers and our groups, we're a little bit more locked in. So
they're purchasing it a year out still for the most part.
But yeah, that's great news. So
I would say that we've definitely been consistent with that. We see because our 3 theaters have different programming, we see a lot more last minute for our comedy club. It's only on Friday and Saturday nights. People feel a lot more spur of the moment of, oh, it's really hot outside. The dew point's at 78. Let's go see comedy. So we see a lot more of that, whereas in our main dinner theater, where we do our Broadway style shows, they're still very special occasion based. We do long runs, so it's not unusual for us to have the same show on stage for 6, 8, 10 months. So it's anniversaries, it's birthdays, it's graduation or retirement. So those are things that people plan further ahead. It's not in the next 10 days kind of an event. They want to make sure that grandma's 90th birthday is celebrated in a way that she loves at a place that she loves. So they're going to lock in those tickets right away. And our concert series is kind of in between. We have some concerts that are so popular they sell out months in advance, and other ones that are more of a last minute decision.
All right, we only have about, oh, go ahead, Joel.
I was just going to say, though, I think the thing that we rely on is that intelligence, because those reports are automated, that we're tracking. You know, we've had some promotions where we can add, 60 to 80 tickets for a main dinner theater show week of, which is, significant. And for us, it's just making sure that those automated reports are going to the people that need it. We have, one called the kitchen count. We have other performance reports that are run so that the managers in food and beverage know, hey, I need one more server and I need to, make 2 more pans of chicken Chanhassen or something for that performance. So having those automated reports that are providing real-time business intelligence to those departments is crucial, I think.
Yeah,
I think one of the things to answer an earlier question of how we use reports, the cool, really good thing about AudienceView is exclusion. Like, by using the daily dashboard, we can see which shows are underperforming in a run. And if a show is going to start underperforming for some weird reason in the cosmos, it's always going to be the dog. So that pretty early, and so then we will target a promo for that show. But people are pretty savvy, and it's not 100%, but we want to make sure we're excluding the current ticket holders when we're targeting those people.
Yes.
And that is, AudienceView is very good at that, better than the other platforms, of doing everything you can to exclude. But by using the combination of those 2 reports, we're able to tailor our promos to be like, I use the joke, $20 tickets. You want $20 tickets? We got them this Friday. And so we try to do very short, blasty, 48 hours to get this deal on this date. But we want to make sure that, because again, we've all said our customers don't read as much as we want them to. So if you bought tickets to Jersey Boys at $100 a piece, and you're seeing an email header that says $20 tickets to Jersey Boys, you're going to lose your mind. Now, we know that comes with a deep, like, very small needle to thread, but exclusioning is very important.
Well, and this also ties back to a question you were asking earlier of, like, how do we notify our customers of everything we want them to know? In that same circumstance, when we're building a promo, pop-ups are amazing in the purchase flow. And when somebody is putting in a promo code, and then you get that pop-up of, like, basically which ticket type do they want to accept, I have all these little detailed notes of, like, where to write my information, so that when that pops up, it basically re-explains the deal to them of, like, the $69 ticket gets you blah, 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 because I know where to add that in, and they're getting that information throughout their purchase flow as well. So there's just so many places to tell them, and you do have to tell them 3 times.
And rewarding customers of using technology. We actually have reduced fees if you go online and do it online. You pay a higher phone fee. We kind of flip that on its head. Like, it doesn't cost us anything in labor if somebody can figure it out online. And so we've actually, they still have a fee. I mean, we got to pay for the software, but we actually charge higher phone fees and in-person fees. And then one of the other things that's been really good that I'll credit to Charity, she did web videos that she mass emailed out of, you know, and it's just a screen record of your computer of a 7-minute tutorial on how to book your tickets online, how to redeem your season tickets online. And those videos were watched and people used them as training to go ahead and do it. And that just cuts down on our box office, especially at a busy time of the year. So we will a lot of times reward our customers and give them, you know, online only for the first 2 days, and then good luck on the phones. So anything you can do to, if they want their seats or their dates, then they're going to step out of their comfort zone if they want it that bad. So,
Or get their son to help.
Right.
And so, yeah, rewarding customers by using technology has been really helpful for us. So.
Well, unfortunately, now we need to cut off this conversation so I can let John jump in here and start the demo. But thank you so much. This was, I learned a lot. I'm hoping that all of our participants did. I assume that's why no one jumped in with a question, because we were just covering everything beautifully. So, John, are you there?
Here, but I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Don't know if you can see me. That's the other thing I don't know if you can do either. And I'm going to try and share my screen, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do either, depending on whether I'm the host or not. So you have disabled screen sharing, I think. So I might need to be.
You should be able to now. I just made you a co-host.
Okay. So let me attempt to do that. First, share screen, which is that one. Oh, that's not where I want to be. There we go. So hopefully someone can confirm to me that we can see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay, let's try sharing.
There we go. Coming. Got it.
Okay, you got that. Okay, so just need to find my notes. We're good to go. So the first thing I want to do, apologies, technical, it's like you're working computers, but you still have to figure out the computers. That's just how life is. I firstly want to just say thanks to our guests. You've literally blown my presentation completely apart. You've said everything that I intend to say. Please forgive me, all those who are familiar with the content by now. But it just goes to show how really good at using AudienceView Unlimited these guys are, because they've really got it nailed. I also want to just say a couple of hellos, because I hadn't seen Charity and Ken for some time, Kurt, sorry, for some time, because I actually did a bunch of demos for them back on Unlimited, like whatever that was, 18 months ago. So hi to you guys, haven't seen you for a while. Like Joel, my career was pretty much defined by AudienceView Unlimited. Well, certainly ticketing, computerized ticketing in general, which I think I converted from a manual box office to a computerized box office probably more years ago than I can actually dare to admit to. But I've been an AudienceView user. I was an AudienceView user for over 10 years. In fact, I was one of the people who chose it for the organization I worked in, which was a UK-based venue. So I actually live in the UK, live and work in the UK. I've worked for AudienceView for 6 years. So in effect, my career using AudienceView led to my career working for AudienceView. I worked in a venue that was a multi-purpose venue, actually ran arenas and a concert hall, and consumer exhibitions and a variety of different events. So we also worked as a UK agency, full national agency, ticketing on behalf of other people. So pretty much if there's a use case for AudienceView Unlimited, I've probably done it. And I used to run a team of 10 people who actually built stuff in AudienceView Unlimited. So I'm a big fan, as you can probably imagine. And that's me anyway, before we get started. So going to talk a little bit. I'm not going to show you inside the product. The main reason for that is there's a lot to see, and I really don't feel like I can do that justice here and now. Obviously, we're totally happy to do demos, and we'll be happy to follow up with an in-depth demo for anybody who's interested, because we're not going to be able to cover everything in 15 minutes. Typically, an introductory demo, I'd spend an hour making sure everybody knew, everything there was to know, all the great features and so on. So, hope I can whet your appetite, and as I say, if anyone's interested in following up with a deep dive demo, we absolutely can arrange that. So this is what I'm intending to cover. So should begin by saying, I think it's been said, I feel like it's been said, AudienceView Unlimited has enterprise level functionality. And by that, what I mean is that it can support many aspects of your business. It's designed to be used by your whole team. And we have a wide range of clients, many dinner theatres, each using Unlimited in their own unique ways. So let's dive in and take a little look. So I think we've probably covered some of this already, but AudienceView Unlimited is a platform for ticketing, marketing, CRM, and much more. So the system is both flexible and configurable. I think we definitely covered that in abundance. It's key feature for us. It just allows you to have all the tools that you need and really make it fit your business rather than have to fit your business to the product. And as someone, as I say, who used to run a ticket agency, I definitely can testify to that. That flexibility, we couldn't have done our jobs without. And that was going to be my big reveal, but it's already been said. We even give you access to the registry. So I can't name another software company that gives you that access. But it allows you to do all of those things that have already been described in terms of renaming fields, calling things what you want them to call them, even calling the functionality what you want to call it. If you refer to something differently, I've seen organizations where the entire suite of the applications has been renamed to suit the language they use within their business, because that means that they're all talking a common language. AudienceView Unlimited is a white label solution. That means you're leading with your brands. I say brand or brands. So some organizations have multiple brands, and they choose to expose those multiple brands. They can do that within the product because it has a built-in content management system. And that allows you to build and design your own site or sites, as many as you like, and create the styling to match those brands. And because it's built inside the system, you can update it as often as you need to. You're not asking a web developer or some external person to do that work for you. Using these tools, you can create a journey or multiple journeys which work for your customers. So if you want something different for your members, from a sort of general public booking, you can create a members only site. You can create those journeys that work best for your customer base and your important groups of customers. With that white labeling, I think this was something I think Kurt talked about, is you can start on your own custom website and seamlessly link to purchase through Unlimited, or you can create your entire e-commerce site in Unlimited, which I believe Suncoast have done. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, which saves you money. I mean, you're not paying someone to do that for you. You're building that in-house. I mean, you may spend a little bit of money on asking some help with that, but you don't have that ongoing maintenance from another person. And that's what many of our clients choose to do. It's an either or, whichever suits you best. When it comes to, I think probably it's kind of close to my heart, one of the great strengths of AudienceView Unlimited is the event configuration tool. Unlimited includes a lot of time-saving options for bulk building your performances, defining financial details and setting goals, managing your prices and inventory. Everything's in your hands, so you're not reliant on us. Obviously, we're there if you need us, but you have full control over your venue layouts and events and pricing. When it comes to building venues, you can build, copy and update your own seating plans. You get to decide what the images are that you use in the background to reflect your venue, so your customers get a true view of what your venue's like. You can choose the features that are shown, all of those kinds of things to give your customers a really clear understanding of the seating layout. It's pick a seat or general admission. So if you have venue, if you sell any of your venues on general admission, you have the ability to do that. You can even mix those within the same venue. That's kind of typical use case. Some cabaret venues have like a mix of tables and reserved seating. You can incorporate view from seat images to help customers make informed choices. That can be quite specific. You can have it down to the seat level if you want to do that, but you can have it production based. So if the seating provides if they're very specific production layout that has specific seating issues, then you might be able to, or you feel like you need to inform the customer of those. You can show them those and put those seat images directly into that seat map. And when it comes to the events themselves, we're removing a lot of those time-consuming elements, making it easy to build one or many events. The batch tool just lets you build entire seasons out in minutes. I've done that with many a demo system that I've had to build out, but you can literally build out dozens and dozens of performances in minutes using templates. You can also make bulk changes using the same kind of batch automation, and the tasks run in the background, which means you can just get on with other things while that's happening. There's also a lot of ways you can control your inventory right down to the performance level, so you can make adjustments for that sort of really highly accurate inventory reporting. So if there's a table or seating area that's not being used during a certain show, whatever, you can actually remove that totally from the plan, and your capacity will reflect that. And that means that all your reporting and all your other capacities, when you're looking at your availability, when your customers are looking at your availability, they're seeing true availability. And you can do that in real time, even after the event is on sale. When it comes to pricing, price charts, you can design and build your own price charts at discounts. You decide automatically. You can automatically set who can access them and when, which sales channels are in play, when those are in play, and whether fees apply to them. So that example there, where you're charging fees, lesser fees over the online than you are over the phones, that these are things that you can control. And you can do that automatically. So new prices coming into play, you can do that using the calendaring tool. You can also assign price charts en masse very quickly. So essentially, you could price a whole season or a whole year of events in pretty much one click. You could also choose to use our model pricing and functionality, which allows you to set the pricing, the ticket pricing at the event level, and then your price chart is relative to that. So in effect, you can set something as a percentage or a value off the amount of tickets there. So if you have a groups rate, for instance, 10% off, you set your groups chart to 90% of the ticket price, and it doesn't matter what the ticket price is on the event. You've got one groups rate, and it's applied. Well, that price chart is then applied to all of your shows. So, and you can use it over and over again. So that's a great advantage. Real time saver. Breaking down ticket prices for reporting revenue streams, that's another thing that we're really strong on in terms of fees and taxes. You're able to include a number of fees and taxes within a ticket price that can be invisible to the customer. So the customer sees the end price, but in the back end, you're able to report that out and split your revenue streams. So for instance, which proportion of the ticket is food and beverage versus which is ticket revenue, those kinds of things. You can actually report on those and get quite granular. I think I need to move quite quickly because we're nearly at time. Last thing to mention, I think we did a lot of talking about data management. It's a CRM at the heart of it. We know that data is critical in terms of your growth as a business. That's why it's at the heart of the product. There's over 180 data fields at the customer, contact, and order level. So many of them are configurable. So you can capture the data that's unique to your organization, the things that you really need. And the key thing is that it's also reportable. That means that you can get that information back out, and it can inform your guest experience and your promotional marketing activities as well. You can also ask questions on checkout as well at the order or per seat level. On this example here, you just see in the middle, I'm asking, for instance, for dietary preferences on a per seat basis. This can also be reported out and passed on to your front of house teams to keep them informed. And I think we've had a lot of conversation around that being an important part of the business process. I would say one of the things you talked about is anniversaries and birthdays. I think one of the great use cases for this is, for instance, asking questions about, is this a special occasion? And then, you're able to, when the customers turn up, I don't know, you have complimentary glasses of champagne on their table, or you just, even if your servers are able to come up to them and wish them a happy anniversary, it's a really nice thing to be able to do. I was going to kind of turn off that. I'm going to very briefly, if we just have time, Casey, just mention, we did talk about the app. I wasn't going to include the app because I think for time reasons. AudienceView Spotlight is the real-time mobile experience that we were talking about. Essentially, what this allows you to do is engage and monetize with your customers directly through this channel. So essentially, it's an additional channel to you. So it's an entirely mobile experience. You can create your own marketing that is literally being pushed through here. So you push marketing directly through the mobile experience, allows you to then essentially get a captive audience. So there's another way of being able to contact people even inside the venue to have them change their behavior inside the venue. The great thing about the mobile is they're carrying your site around with them. So in effect, this is a great opportunity for you to both market to these people, but also to deliver them with services, additional services. I can't really get into a lot of detail about that here now, but if that was of interest, we can certainly obviously provide additional information and demos about that. But I think we're probably at time, so I'm really just conscious of that. And I need to hand back to Casey. So just want to thank you for your time. We know that time is your most valuable commodity. So thank you for giving us that, and appreciate you listening to me. And I'm just going to leave you with a few logos of our wonderful dinner theatre partners to look at while I hand back to Casey.
Thank you, John. And I know we're at time, so thank you again once more to our panelists, Joel, Peggy, Charity, Kurt. Really appreciate your time. And again, this was recorded, so if you'd like to access it at any time, it'll be on our website. And thanks for joining us. Bye, all.
Bye, everybody.